Hello again, friends. This is Monica Pitts, and welcome to Marketing with Purpose. So today I am going to give you all kinds of ideas. I am an idea lady right now, and I'm going to give you all kinds of ideas for different types of content for your nonprofit. Now, what do I mean by content? I mean anything that you might make a social media post about or send in your newsletters or publish on your blog. Those things are all content. And they all kind of fall into the same bucket. It doesn't matter if you're going to do a video or an article or a photo or an infographic. All of it has to start with an idea. It has to start with the concept of the content itself. So I'm going to give you all kinds of ideas today. I have a whole paper towel filled with them. I don't know why I put it on a paper towel. I was like, oh my gosh, I have to write this down before I forget. And I just started brainstorming. And I guess I just kind of wigged out and went old school. Like most of the time I'd be brainstorming all in my content outline here because I outline every podcast I do on my computer. And I'm sitting here looking at my computer, and you'd think that I would have just typed it up, but I didn't. I had this red pen that was sitting next to me, and I had a paper towel from my breakfast muffin, and I just started writing it down, just going to town. So I should actually take a picture of it and post it with this because it's kind of funny. Anyway, so I'm going to read off of a paper towel, and I'm going to tell you all the ideas that I have for you to make your content. Let's get to business.
If you're a natural-born marketer, you're one lucky son of a gun. If you're like most people, marketing, especially online marketing, is about as appealing as standing in a police lineup. The May Create team of creatives has transformed websites and digital marketing from craptastic to fantastic since 2005. Our podcast, Marketing with Purpose, makes sense of marketing so you can make purposeful decisions instead of carrying on with the same old crap you've been doing. And now your host, Monica Pitts, founder of May Create, with another episode on how to make your marketing not suck.
Now, if you actually want this list and you don't just want to hear it, you can go out to podcast.maycreate.com, and it's out there. It's not just a transcribed podcast. It's actually a blog post with the podcast link to it, and you'll get links to any services that I mention. And so there you go. Head on over to podcast.maycreate.com and take a look at all these ideas in person so you don't have to re-listen to this podcast again and write them all down. Alrighty, so right now I have 14 on my list, 14 ideas for content. And really, the thought process is any place where your values and interests intersect with your audience, with the people that you want to make relationships with, that's what you post about. That's really where I want you to put your head right now, is where do your interests and your values intersect? Because that's where I came up with all these ideas, is finding ways to deepen your relationships with people through the content that you're producing and finding a way to connect with them through your shared values and your shared interests. Now, your content serves two purposes, right? You're going to use it to meet people, and you're also going to use it to maintain relationships. Now, most of the examples that I'm going to give you today are going to be really, really good for maintaining relationships. They may do some for meeting people, but for the most part, what I'm focusing on are easy, fun to produce content ideas that are going to do a great job of maintaining relationships. Because not every nonprofit has a blog. They have a newsletter most of the time, and they'll have social media. Now, those two things go out to people you already know. You hope that they can get circulated around and end up in front of people that you don't know yet. But getting in front of people that you don't know yet it's a different strategy for developing your content. And I will cover that and go down that rabbit hole in another podcast. I will touch on it a little bit today, but for the most part, we're talking about just making friends better friends. Okay? All right. So let's start at the top. The first thing, the most obvious thing, are stories. And when I say stories, I really mean journeys. And there are so many different journeys that people go through when they are involved with your organization. So you have the people you serve. Maybe it's actually a purpose that you serve, right? So the purpose that you serve, or the creatures that you serve. So you have those things, those people, those creatures that get value from what you do. That's one type of journey. Where did they start? Where did they finish? What was the difference that you made? Now, you also have your donors. Don't forget that they're going through a journey too. They're going through this journey with you. So you have where they started in a relationship with you and where they are now. And that's a journey as well that you can share. You have your staff. A lot of staff members start with nonprofit organizations really young, and they learn and they move through the ranks of the organization and become these amazing, skilled, intelligent, professional human beings that have an amazing story to tell. So you're serving them as well. You're helping develop their professional skills, and that's a story that you can tell. And then you also have the story of your volunteers. They're volunteering for a reason. And when you tell their reasons in their stories, then other people who might not have considered volunteering or might be considering volunteering can see themselves in their shoes. Like, for example, my friend Carrie just went out and was volunteering at the food bank. And she was telling me this story about how amazed that she was at how hard her daughter worked when they were there and how much fun that they had. So Carrie telling that story is showing her relationship with her daughter, how she spent quality time with her daughter, instilling her core values into her child about giving back in her community. And you want volunteers like that. You want more volunteers like Carrie. So telling those stories, telling those journeys is a great piece of content. Now, where some nonprofits get lost in this content is they tell the story, but they don't say thank you as they're telling the story. I was just talking to my friend Jamie Fredericks, who is just super smart. And she said to me, Monica, there's all these nonprofits that are posting content, but they're not telling the donors that they're the reason that this story happened. And so when you're posting stories about the people that you serve, or about your staff members who are going through a journey, that's an opportunity for you to let people know that they were part of that journey because of their donations, because of their generosity. This person or this story, this transformation happened. So thank you. And that is a great way to connect with your donors and make sure that they understand that they are part of this journey and they support your mission. So the way that you tell these stories can be all kinds of different ways. So number 2 would be a self-directed story. For example, if you have a museum or if you are running an event, you can have a selfie booth or a selfie location where people take a picture of themselves and they put it out online and they might tag your organization. So that's a great way to build awareness and get in front of a new audience. So really encourage that self-directed storytelling, whether it's volunteers that are working at the moment or people attending an event. All those people can tell their story and your story on your behalf. So number 3 is testimonials. Testimonials are another type of story that you can tell. So if you have some really high profile donors or just people, I don't want to say high profile because that's not right. Now, everybody wants to go after the high profile person, right? Because other people know them and they think, well, if people could see that Janet gives, then everybody would want to give to this organization. And I'm not sure that that's 100% true because you want people to see themselves in the people that support you and in the people that you serve. Or you want them to see people that they know in the people that you serve. So saying just get testimonials from high profile people, that's not quite right. You should be talking to all the dimensions of people that make your organization tick. So it could be anybody from a board member to a volunteer to a person who just has volunteered once, a new volunteer at the beginning of the journey, or a person who just attended a training that you offered. All of those things. People like to see people at the beginning of the journey, in the middle of the journey, and at the end of the journey that you are directing through your work. So ways that you can facilitate testimonials, and I will totally do a whole podcast on how to create great testimonials. But first, I just want to give you like a few fill in the blanks. So you could have people say, I give because. I believe in blank because blank. Blank makes a difference because blanks. I started becoming involved with blank because of blank. You can fill in those blanks like a Mad Lib, right? And those are just the beginning of testimonials. Really, there's a whole art to gathering them. And like I said, I'll go into that another day. So number 4, events. So there's all kinds of different content that you can make around events. You can do event recaps and offer those in your newsletter or out on social media or on your website. You can do content during the events. Before you even do an event, I want you to think of all the ways that you can gather content. Think about people standing in front of that selfie booth and taking their photos. Think about the people gathering around a certain area. Just really envision that event and think about all the different ways that you can make content while you're there, because that is going to be good stuff. That is golden, and we want that for later, right? We've even gone so far as talking to people while they're at the event and asking them about the testimonials, or pulling them aside and videoing them doing testimonials while they're at the event. And that is, it's awesome because it just gives you an opportunity to generate so much content at this one, in this one setting. So during the events, you're going to do updates. You could show people walking in, be like, hey, it just started. You could also, if it's a virtual event, you're going to post online. You might take a screenshot of what's happening. Also, you're going to have updates if you're doing a fundraiser about the money raised. So you would thank people as they are making their donations and let people know where you're at right now in your donation totals and where you're going, like what your goal is, and encourage them to share, encourage them to like. Definitely encourage them to donate. And then after the event, also, I love doing kind of paparazzi pictures at the event, flattering paparazzi pictures only, friends, because you know that we're trying to make friends here, not offend people. So have some flattering paparazzi pictures. And then I put them out on the website, like just tons of them in this huge gallery. And then I'm going to send out an email and make a post on social media with a grouping of pictures on there and be like, hey, were you at the event? Check out how the paparazzi got you. Or did you get caught in the paparazzi? Like something kind of fun, just letting them know that this is going to be a fun post and people want to see pictures of themselves. So they almost always click and go over to your website to check it out. And that's just another way to kind of bring them back into that moment and remind them of the good work that you do. Okay, so number 5 is group content. So you can do group content roundtable style. So let's say that there's a commonly asked question that you hear all the time. Have your whole group answer it. So it might be your executive director. It might be a very recognizable development person. It could be the head of your board. So roundtable style. For example, we use this to address kind of a little bit controversial issues and how we feel about them. Now, by controversial, I do not mean like negative, yucky yuck stuff. Let me start by saying that I do not have anything to do with yucky yuck. I am not like an accident chaser. No, that's not what's happening. As a matter of fact, I actually completely remove it from everything. I curate all of the content that I consume. And the only way that I know about weird or bad things that are going out in the universe is, well, if I walk past Alexa and she like pops up an article and like, whoa, that sucks. Or my husband, Mike, and Stacy, my right-hand lady, they tell me these stories, but, and I realize, I know I'm living in a vacuum and that's not necessarily awesome, But if you asked me, hey, Monica, what's the latest news about search trends in Google? Or do you know the newest, greatest thing about how to market a business online? I'd be like, well, heck yeah, because that's what I'm following, right? But I'm certainly not following all the other stuff. And I just let Stacy and Mike filter it for me and then present it to me. And then I know that I needed to hear it. And then I can hear it in a way that doesn't completely like bum me out for the rest of the day. Anyway, I digress. So when I say controversial, I mean, like, for example, in my world, they changed the user interface for our website development software. We use WordPress. And a few years ago, they flipped it to what you see is what you get kind of drag and drop user interface. And there was a lot of discussion and kind of angst among all the WordPress developers about how this was going to go and what was going to happen and if it was okay or not. And so we actually did a roundtable between all of our developers and designers and had each one of them talk about how they feel about this change, because our clients were also feeling the change because their websites were changing. And that was cool. And then also we did a blog post that was about different tricks that you can use and a training. Like, we offered a retraining to our clients to use this new user interface. So you can use those same things in your space to have discussions, whether it's something that the city council just decided or another thing that just came down the pipe that people are talking about a lot. Have multiple people in your organization touch on it and give their thoughts. Other fun group content is traditions. So we talk about everything from 4th of July traditions to Christmas traditions. It's kind of fun. So idea number 6, report interpretation. Really anything interpretation. Like, if you deal with something not everybody understands, or if there's a bunch of information from a survey or a research report that's been released, read it. If you understand it, you can interpret it for people who also might need to know it. So I like to look through that content, figure out what I glean from it, what's the most important thing, and then you write up content about it. You can just share it in social media, be like, hey, here's a link to this report. Here's something that I found interesting about it. Or you can write up a whole article about it and share it in your newsletter or blog. And it might also be a good kind of segue for you to educate your constituents about what's going on. Okay, so number 7. Now, you're going to think I'm a little crazy when I say this one, but cover objections. So when you're having conversations with people about giving or about volunteering, what are their objections? What are the reasons that they tell you they're not going to do it? And if you don't know their reasons, then we probably need to belly up and ask the reason why not, because there's got to be some type of disconnect there, right? Because they don't have to give you a huge gift. They can give you a gift that works for them. And they don't have to give you a ton of time. They could give you the amount of time that works for them, maybe. I don't know how your volunteer system works, and so everybody's is different. But if you understand what their objections are, then you can cover them up front. So let's say that one objection might be, well, volunteering takes me away from family time. Well, just look. Carrie brought her daughter to the food bank to volunteer, and you can do the same thing. So if you know that people are going to have an objection about volunteering taking them away from time with their family, then you cover that objection and show them that you heard that objection, you understand it, and here's why maybe it's not as valid as they thought. So idea number 8, answering commonly asked questions. And when I say commonly asked questions, I mean any commonly asked question. When do you open? How do I sign up to volunteer? Anything, like anything at all. So any question that you hear, answer it, especially in social. When you're in social media, you can answer these questions really quickly and just remind people. And especially if your hours are changing or if things are fluctuating within your organization and the public needs to know, you can kind of treat this commonly asked questions as an announcement. The easiest way to find commonly asked questions is just the person who answers the phone. So go ask them, what do you hear questions about all the time? And then you answer that question for them. It could be, where do I sign up to volunteer, right? That was one that I just cited. So then you would go out on a social media and be like, we hear all the time, people call in and ask, how do they volunteer? Well, here's the deal. It's actually really easy. It's all online. Click here and find a great time for yourself to volunteer today. All right, so number 9, problems. Now, the last 2 that I covered, objections, commonly asked questions, and now number 9 is problems. These are all 3 really good ideas for reaching new people as well. Because new people are, they're not sure about it. You might have met them, and that's why you're covering objections now, but you might not have met them, and they might have this objection, and finding your answer to it might sway them to become a supporter of yours. And of all 3 of those, objections, commonly asked questions, and problems, solving problems is an amazing way to make new friends online. What you have to do is put yourself into the shoes of the people who share your interests and your core values. What are the things that you guys have in common with your interests and your core values? What are the problems that they're facing, and how can you help them solve it? I will totally go deeper into this when I cover how to plan your content. Right now I'm working on ideas, right? But I do want to explain this idea to you. So let's say that you are an animal shelter. Your interests are going to intersect with other people who love animals. And so think about the challenges that those people are facing. Easy challenge to think of is dogs barking. My dog barks. How do I make it stop barking? Well, you want to deepen the relationship of people with their animals. Animal lovers adopt more animals, and they donate to organizations who take care of animals, right? So those are the people that you want to have in your list of contacts to build relationships with. So if they're having a problem getting their dog to stop barking, and you know somebody who can tell you how to get their dog to stop barking. Wait, do you hear that? That's my dog. She's barking. Hey, quiet. I should not have used that example. This is what happens when you let your dogs in the office. Okay, so the deal is you can bring in someone who can give examples on how to solve this problem for those pet owners, and then they will find your website and learn about you because you solved their problem. So that's just a simple example of it. And like I said, I'm going to go way deeper into this when I talk about how to plan your content in a future podcast. All right. So number 10, this is probably the easiest one, really. It's what's happening. So what's happening? What's going around? So here's a great example. One day we had a bird that landed in our office. I don't know how that bird got in our office. And we don't even have windows that open. Either way, Rebecca, one of our designers, is like a Disney princess. And she's just sitting there hanging out with this baby bird. And it's just perched on her. It was the craziest thing. So, we're making social media posts about that because that was crazy. And then also, so here was a great example. I was scrolling through my newsfeed, and one of our local animal rescue groups, they posted, it was just a 15-second video of these new puppies that they needed foster families for. It was just 15 seconds. And those puppies were so cute that I actually considered fostering a puppy. Me, like I have 2 kids. I have 2 dogs. I run a business. I have hobbies. I want to hang out with my husband. And for like 2 full minutes, I actually considered fostering a dog because I saw this video. And then they show videos of the dogs that are sad, that are hurt, that come to them. And I think, oh no. And they're so effective. But those are the things that are happening with them. Another great example, can you tell I follow a lot of animal groups, was our local Humane Society put out an ask for people to donate food. And they took a picture of all of the Amazon boxes stacked up in the lobby of the shelter. It was moving. I was moved by how many people were so generous to just fill out an order and just send food over to this. I mean, that was amazing. It was wow. You can tell. Like, it was really, really cool. And then I watched my kids the other day. My kids watch this YouTube channel that is a lady who rehabilitates all kinds of animals. It's crazy. She's got everything from birds to reptiles. It's really cool. And one of the videos that she does is opening the Amazon boxes that people send her as donations. And so she doesn't have any idea what's in them. And she opens them all up and she videos it the whole time. And she gets really excited about every single thing that she takes out. So she'll open one up and be like, oh, look at this. It's a bird toy. Oh, this is going to be the perfect bird toy for Charlie. He's going to be so happy with it. Thank you so much. I just can't wait to give Charlie this present. And it's awesome. My kids love it. And it's such a great idea to say thank you to your donors. And it's just all about, what's happening. So box and openings is actually a number 11 because all these kids, they're all watching all these stinking videos where they're opening LOL surprise dolls. And like all that is just this tiny figurine that is in a whole bunch of plastic sacks that you open up, but they love it. They love the surprise. And they watch these videos because it's fun. I feel myself getting sucked in. I watch videos of people playing with slime. How can you capitalize on that, right? So open up those boxes when people send them to you and rejoice. It's really fun to watch. All right, so number 12 is give people a tour. Walk them around your facility, walk them around your office, introduce them to your staff. You don't have to do it all at once. You can do it one by one, but just let them see the inner workings of what's going on. One of my clients has a workshop and they build pet carts, which are carts that people can power with their hands because they're for people who can't walk. And I'm really excited. They have a whole new facility. We're going to go in. We're going to do a Facebook Live tour. It's going to be so much fun. We're going to show everybody the whole production facility. All right, so number 13 is throwbacks. So go back into your old events, especially if you've been around for a really long time. I mean, find people with 80s hair. Just go back. Find the super old stuff. Find those memories that you've collected over years and years and years and post those. People love them. They will go nuts. And also, if you can find old documentation of adversity that you have faced. So maybe it could be that you almost had to shut down, or that your facility flooded, or that I say flood because there's a picture that I just saw the other day of the flood of 97 it was 93. Heavens, I don't know. So it was when I was young. There was a huge flood. Everything was flooded. There's water everywhere, right? So let's say that your organization was impacted by that flood. I swear it was 93. Either way, you can show pictures of that. And even if, like, let's say that you were on the cusp of having to close down because something bad happened or you had a fire or whatever it is, then you can share that story again and reconnect with the people who helped you get through that moment. And you can thank them again. You can thank them so many times, and you can tell them how you got where you are today because of all of their generosity at that moment way back in the day. Another fun throwback idea is like staff or board members who've been around forever. Like, get old pictures of them and post it. It could be really fun and embarrassing, especially on their birthdays. It's really fun. And also, we do a lot of posting of pictures, kind of like a little bit of precarious situations, like weird situations. One of our clients goes on medical mission trips, and they're out in third world countries, and you never know what kind of picture is going to come back. They could be in the back of a crazy truck going someplace, or next to like this teeny tiny plane that they're going to get on. And they could also be wheeling a like trolley down. Did I say trolley? Am I English? Gosh, I hope not. Okay, so one of those carts that you put all your luggage on? Well, they don't put a bunch of luggage on it. They put a bunch of medical supplies on it, and they're pushing it through the airport. And it's great. We take pictures of it, and we put it up on social media, and people love it. They really respond to that kind of stuff because it's like people in action. All right. So then last but not least is quotes. Number 14 is quotes. You can post quotes from staff or from others sharing your mission. I love posting quotes from staff because there's so many amazing people that power your organization, and their words are equally as impactful sometimes as all those really amazing leaders that we've had in history. And then there's other things that are really funny too. Like, for example, the other day we were having a brainstorming session and I meant to say, open your mind and free your inner client, because I was trying to get everybody to put themselves in the shoes of the people that we're serving. And instead I said, open your mind and eat your inner client. And then somebody wrote it up on the window, and I've never had the heart to erase it because it's really funny. And it was a great moment that we had. And of course, that's going to go up on social media. So hopefully through all of those ideas, you found some spots that you feel like you can grasp onto and utilize in your own content. So I'm going to read through them super fast again so you can hear them one more time and maybe solidify them in your brain. So 1 is stories, 2, self-directed stories, helping people post for you, 3, testimonials, 4, events, 5, group content, 6, report interpretation or news interpretation, 7, covering objections, 8, commonly asked questions, 9, problems. And remember, 7, 8, and 9, objections, commonly asked questions, and problems, those are the ones that if you are trying to get in front of new people that you don't know, that you'll want to focus on, and I'll cover those in a later podcast. Number 10, what's happening. 11, box openings from donations. 12, give them a tour. 13, throwbacks. And 14 is quotes. And that's it. That's my whole red ink covered paper towel at your service, ideas for developing content for your nonprofit. So thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Hopefully you got some ideas. If you want to see these all written down, remember, go over to podcast.maycreate.com. We've got them written down for you. And if you enjoyed this podcast, or if you learned a thing or two, I would love it if you left a review, or maybe you even subscribe, because I would love to hang out with you again and tell you more crazy ideas that I have about promoting your organization. Once again, this is Monica Pitts, and I know you've got things to do, and that content isn't going to write itself. So, and go forth and market with purpose.
Thanks again for listening to Marketing with Purpose. Head over to maycreate.com, MAYECREATE.com. Yeah, you heard me right, MAYECreate.com for podcast notes and more resources to grow your business. Don't let your marketing suck. Get your pride on, market with purpose.